Dealing with burnout inside and outside of work. Presentation by Anna, Emily, Erima, Susan, and Yashin. Introduction. Burnout is more than just feeling tired. It is a state of emotional, physical, and mental exhaustion caused by prolonged stress. Common in healthcare and support roles. Example, PSWs. Agenda. In this presentation, we will cover what is burnout, why burnout matters in the workplace, research summary, research assessment, best practices, workplace strategies to reduce burnout, recommended readings and references. What is the problem? What is burnout? Characterized by emotional exhaustion, depersonalization, stroke, detachment, reduced sense of accomplishment. For workers such as personal support workers, PSW, burnout is especially common because the job involves high emotional demands, heavy physical workload, frequent exposure to illness, dirt, and grief, shift work or long working hours, balancing work stress with responsibilities at home. Burnout matters because it affects not only the worker but also quality of care provided to clients stroke residents, safety in the workplace, job satisfaction and retention, mental health including risk of depression and anxiety, physical health leading to chronic fatigue and illness. As burnout increases, employees may feel detached, overwhelmed, irritable, or unable to perform at their best.
According to some surveys, they found that 79% of Canadian healthcare workers experience burnout. 87.7 met the exhaustion and disengagement threshold to be considered experiencing burnout. And 80% of those people were women between the ages of 30 and 59. They indicated that some of the reasons were abuse, bullying, and harassment, verbal threats from patients, families, friends, the public, including protesters when COVID was going on, co-workers and supervisors, physical abuse such as being spit on and barricaded in rooms. The four main reasons were feeling unsafe at work, lacking support, feeling threatened, assaulted, or bullied, and redeployment. Some of the challenges have been heavy workloads and high emotional stress, low wages, and lack of job security. This has impacted Canada's aging population, where PSW roles are essential, and created a vicious cycle of labor shortages and deteriorating conditions. Some of the things that may help with the situation is focus on retention through healthy workplaces and fair compensation, and build on successful recruitment programs.
Research assessment. For our research sources, we used organizations such as Canadian Press, the Toronto Star, and CSA Public Policy Centre. These organizations are government-funded and/or government-organized organizations that focus on reporting and researching database statistics. An article that I found most useful was titled Heavy Workloads, High Stress, Low Wages, Driving PSWs Out of Profession. This article was published by the CSA Public Policy Centre in 2025 and is based on data from 380 current and former PSWs. We selected it because it is recent and directly related to our topic. We also used an article titled Hospital Staff Overworked, Support from Province Needed, Ontario Union Says. This article was released in 2024 by the Canadian Press. We chose it because information comes from 750 hospital workers, including PSWs. It also highlights many common issues in the healthcare system, such as staff shortages, heavy workloads, and burnout. We also looked at health and safety matters, association between organizational practices and personal support workers' life and work stresses in Ontario, Canada. This article was published in 2021 and is based off of 127 Ontario PSWs. This article also highlights common workplace stresses that PSWs face. Key insights: heavy workloads. So being understaffed, having to rush through work, and being exhausted due to the workload. Increased stress, feeling overworked, overwhelmed, and dreading having to go to work. Financial pressure, workload to wage comparison doesn't match. Multiple PSWs do work multiple jobs. Lack of support, needing more staff, feeling undervalued, feeling unheard, in need of better pays and better benefits. And finally, turnover rate. Thoughts of leaving or quitting. Many workers consider quitting or seeking other workplaces, which causes more stress as it adds to the shortages.
PSWs are often torn between providing quality care to clients while battling to stay healthy for themselves and their families. Based on the literature and reports specific to Ontario, plus broader PSW burnout research, here are some recommendations. The individual self-care level. According to Cardit Health Technology Review, in quotes, long-term care, personal support workers, resilience and wellness 2021, it recommends practicing self-compassion, training. This implies that as a PSW, one should prioritize self-care and boundary setting. Building rest, recovery time, make time for sleep, nutritious meal, physical activities, relaxation, and continuous education on self-care management. Set emotional boundaries. Recognize the emotional load of caring and create mental space, e.g., debriefing, journaling, talking with peers. Peer support and social support. Find or form peer support groups with co-workers, online peers communities to share experiences, vent and process emotional stress. 4. Participate in workplace feedback mechanism. Regular check-ins, surveys, suggestions, professional development and training. Engage in training around stress management, grief, resilience and communication. 5. Seek opportunity for career growth. Certifications, further educations, which may improve job satisfaction and reduce turnover risk. In addition to the recommendation to address burnout, the Medical Library of Medicine, in quotes, Association between Physical Activity and the Risks of Burnout in Healthcare Workers, 2024, suggests that physical activities and psychological detachment are interventions to help reduce burnouts. This includes 1. Take brisk walk, dance, and strength training or hiking. Choose any physical activity and genuinely enjoy it, whether it is gardening, swimming, or playing a sport. Organizational and systemic support. Burnouts are often rooted in working conditions. Therefore, the employer plays a significant role in increasing burnout among PSWs. According to the Hospital News, there is a burnout crisis among LTC workers. Trauma-informed workplaces are a solution, 2025. For the government, one important strategy to improve care aids mental health is for policymakers to adopt and fund policies that support trauma-informed workplaces in LTC. It is essential for creating supportive environments, reducing the impact of adverse events, and addressing high emotional exhaustion and decreased professional efficacy. A trauma-informed workplace recognizes that trauma is widespread and negatively affects individuals, whether they are older adults or staff. For employers in long-term care home or care organization, improve staffing levels, conduct staffing need assessments, and adjust staffing ratios to ensure PSWs are not constantly working short. Use optimized scheduling tools to match workers' preferences and reduce burnout. Fair compensation and recognition. Offer competitive wages that reflects the physical and emotional demands of PSW roles. Underpayment is a significant burnout driver. Recognize and reward PSWs regularly through acknowledgement programs, awards, verbal recognition, or pay incentives. Supportive supervision and management. Train supervisors, managers in trauma-informed leadership, debriefing and emotional intelligence so that they can better support PSWs. Schedule regular check-ins, debrief section, especially after difficult client interactions, and provide safe spaces for PSWs to express concern.
In conclusion,
Burnout is a significant and growing concern across the Canadian healthcare system, especially among personal support workers who face persistent emotional, physical, and organizational stressors. The research presented in this presentation demonstrates that burnout is not simply an individual issue, but a systemic occupational hazard influenced by workload demands, insufficient support, exposure to trauma, and unsafe or unsustainable working conditions. As shown by national data, burnout affects the majority of healthcare workers, which underscores the urgent need for both individual coping strategies and workplace reform. For PSWs, burnout has direct consequences, not only for their personal well being, but also for client safety, consistency of care, and workforce stability. When workers experience emotional exhaustion or detachment, their capacity to provide compassionate, high quality support is compromised. This creates a cycle where worsening conditions lead to higher turnover, which in turn increase workloads for the remaining staff. Understanding burnout as a multi-layer issue helps clarify why interventions must include both self-care practices such as rest, peer support, and boundary setting, and organizational responsibilities like fair compensation, safe staffing ratios, and clear communication structures. Some of the recommended ratings include Burnout, The Cost of Caring by Christina Maslach, a classic book that presents a three-dimensional model of burnout, emotional exhaustion, depersonalization, the reduced sense of accomplishment. This book provides a fundamental framework for understanding the psychological stress of caregivers. The second book is called Beyond Burnout by Susanna Gold, a practical guide for healthcare workers and PSWs. It explores the relationship between workload, emotional demands, and burnout. Lastly, I recommend the reading The Complexity of Burnout Experiences Among Care Aides by Song because it speaks directly to realities PSWs face every day. Instead of treating burnout as one singular problem, the authors identify different burnout patterns among care aides, showing that people experience stress, emotional exhaustion, and workload pressure in very different ways. This helps us understand why one solution never fits everyone. This is our reference pages, and thanks for listening.